the Grand Bible, the complete Bible, its non-canonical scriptures, the Quran, and books from Mesopotamia, Persia, India, and China. An encyclopedic compilation of the original and complete contents of religious and affiliated texts of East and Western English by Lord Henfield. We found this in the public domain, public access, and here is the licenses to verify that. Creative Commons license and so forth. The Grand Bible, that is the Old Testament with its Deuterocanon and Pseudepigrapha, the New Testament with its Apocrypha and non-canonical scriptures. That is also the instructions of Pseudepigrapha, the teaching of Kagmana, the Ramayana, the Mahabharata, the laws of Manu, and so forth. So it's covering the three major religions, and then it's also covering the secular or secondary religions. Due to the internet being slow, well, particular internet being slow, we've decided not to go through this and fill in a lot of time, waste a lot of time. We decided to have a look at it from our desktop. Here's the main page. Description, dedication to, and here is the contents page. Grand Bible, table of contents of the Grand Bible, and it goes through all the Old Testament, the Tanakh, Torah, etc., etc. In the Christian Bible, and so forth. As you can see, there's quite a lot of content on that. Okay, let's skip a few. Pictorial documentation, the image plates, scrolls and codices, sites of discovery, samples of inscriptions, and so forth. Goes deep into the ancient scrolls, codices, manuscripts, and where they were found in the East. It goes into the cuneiform tablets of Mesopotamia, the Egyptian texts translated by Wallace Budge. Back to the cuneiform script tablet number 5, the Gilgamesh epic, or number 6, and it talks about the Rosetta Stone and so forth. Goes through a lot of detail, a lot of pages on the different scrolls and how they emerged, with the different types, from the people carving it into rock, writing on animal skins, parchment, etc., and down through to the Gutenberg press. There's quite a lot of information there. Shows you the Greek and so forth. Even the Chinese stone found with possibly Aramaic. There's the Chinese in Aramaic underneath it. The Peshitta is the standard version of the Bible for Eastern churches, the Near East, Central Asia, China, and the Syriac Aramaic writing. Bible page from the Megillot Ruth parchment, 9th century AD. Gospel of Nicodemus, also known as the Acts of Pilate. Looks like it's starting to go into the Latin there. These medieval scrolls, and then it covers all these philosophers, the Greek philosophers and so forth. You may recognise a few there. It's like the old Roman Caesars and their wives, possibly. It's like Constantine 1 here. He's just Gallus Aurelius, Valerius, Diocletian, and so forth. And then you have these people of the Middle Ages. Got these are the old church fathers, Roman church fathers, right? You got John Wycliffe, Johannes Gutenberg, Martin Luther, Henry VIII, who was the tyrant king supposedly, William Tyndale, and so forth. Again, it looks like a family tree of Emperor Flavius Vespasianus and Flavius Josephus, and it goes on. And then the areas that they probably occupied, they invaded and conquered and so forth. And it starts heading to the coins, history of the old coins. I'm just trying to get to those. There you go. These image plates of all the coins that have been found with these symbols on them, from the Jewish symbols, the Eastern Mediterranean, Phoenicians, Canaanites, Israelites, and pretty much identical, and so forth. It's got a great history on all of those. Really good for modern coin collectors. Want to know all about this? They have vivid interest in coins today. As you can see, there's a heck of a lot of detail, heck of a lot of coins, and heck of a lot of information on them. Script documentation, identification charts, gives you all this information there. Important writing systems, abjad scripts and alphabets, obviously do with probably the Arabic. You have to look at it. It's all listed there, and it even covers the Chinese Hanzi logographic script. It's a great book to look at. We haven't looked at it in its entirety, but we do find that what we've looked at is very, very interesting. Forward introduction. It explains what the Grand Bible actually is and what's it all about. In great detail. Jump a few pages, see what we have here. More history, text, etc. Skip a few pages. Key events in history, apparently. Again, it goes into the Old Testament. Genesis 1, Genesis chapter 2, so forth. So then that would cover probably the Old Testament as well as the New Testament. Jump a few pages. So it's every book in the Bible according to each religion's texts, Judaism and Christianity mainly. Okay, we're just skipping through all the pages because it's just basically all the books of the Bible, the Old Testament to the New Testament, which you're probably quite familiar with, so you don't need to dwell on those for very long. Okay, still in the Old Testament at Chronicles, so we try to skip right ahead to see what other content is there after all the Old Testament and New Testament. go right ahead there, trying to get past the Old and the New Testament. As we said earlier, it's quite voluminous. It's got a lot of content. We're at page 677 at the moment. It looks like it's saying something about the Aramaic tablet. We can increase it to 150 to have a look. That's better. Aramaic Tobit 4Q9196 by the looks of it. It goes into the Dead Sea Scrolls, the Qumran Library chapter, Testament and Commodities. 2. Qumran Library chapter E, Testaments and Admonitions. It goes into great detail on that, and that's on page 691. So we're going to try to jump way ahead to see if there's anything different here. It's infancy of Jesus, so it might go into the Gnostic pseudepigrapha, those scrolls, etc. that were found. So it's basically a collection of everything in one great or grand Bible version. Acts of Pilate, Part 2, the Descent into Hell, probably the Book of Nicodemus or something. The Resurrection of Jesus Christ by Bartholomew the Apostle, Text B. Acts of the Evangelist John the Theologian from Ante-Nicene Fathers, Volume 8, translated by Alexander Walker, 1779 to 1852, and so forth. We're at page 946 at present. Maybe this is it's covering the New Testament now. Yeah, we're at Hebrews. There's some blue writing here, so maybe there's a difference in translation or something they're indicating that it may not necessarily say that. We're not too sure now why it's in blue. Text of the doctrine of Eri the Apostle, the letter of King Abgar, or Abgar the Black, the son of King Manu, and at what time he sent it to our Lord at Jerusalem. He sent him a letter because he needed healing, and he says, come and live in my kingdom. There's plenty of room here, we can share it, all this sort of stuff. But Jesus said, sorry, but I'm kind of busy, I'm about my father's business, all that sort of stuff, but I'll send somebody, one of my disciples, Adai, with this letter, and it should heal you of whatever your ailment is, and your son. Sorry, I can't be there, and so forth. Right? King Abgar of Edessa, or Urhai, now, Edessa, now modern Turkey, and goes into great detail of him and the letter, etc. You might find that very interesting. Okay, it's going into probably the Roman Catholic versions. It's got here 1 Clement chapter 33. I'm guessing that's probably a Latin version. The Epistle of Polycarp to the Philippians from Apostolic Fathers, author Polycarp, translator Alexander Roberts and James Donaldson, 1967, and that's at page 10 something. Okay, we're right down here in page 1055. So again, as you can gather, there's a hell of a lot of information here. You might find really, really interesting. Okay, what's this? The Mishnahs. Okay, is that Jewish? Jewish text goes into great detail of that. And it looks like it's got the Gemara. Goes into the Gemara. Gemara in the Mishnah, by the look of it. Let's skip all of this. as much as we can. Where are we now? Not too sure. We're at page 1259. Jumping ahead because there's a hell of a lot of content, probably on the Mishnah, the Torah, etc. So if you ever wanted to read the Torah, the Mishnah, the Tanakh, etc., it's all in this Grand Bible version. Maybe differ here and there when translated into the English and explanations and all that sort of stuff, but it's really good reading if you want to be highly knowledgeable on all. Here's a book, the Grand Bible, which will help you to do that. Of course, you've got to do your own personal research, study it, check the facts, establish the facts, look at the evidence that proves itself evident, etc., etc. Articles in which are recounted the abuses which have been corrected. Goes into great detail there. Not too sure what this is. Looks like it's a holy text of some sort. We're at 1774, page 1774, and here it says something about Pistis Sophia, chapter 30. This looks like it goes into the Jamaican, the Rastafarian religion. Understand the pronunciations of words in Rastafarian, well, they speak patois, right? Rastafarian survives as a spoken language, as pronunciation is very important when trying to speak Rastafarian. Standard English has changed considerably in some words of Rastafari. The use of I and I in Rastafarian, I and I pronounced I and I, as in E-Y-E and A-N-I. It is important. Is an important term. It refers to the oneness of Jah, Rastafari, for their God, the Ethiopian Emperor Rastafari, Haile Selassie I, and every person. I and I is a term that reinforces the Rastafarian belief that Jah, Yahweh, God, exists in all people, and everyone exists as one people, unified by Jah, and so forth. So as you can see, it covers a heck of a lot of different translations from different cultures of the East and Africa, etc. Book of Maccabean, the second book of the Ethiopic Maccabees, translation Ras Fikad, can't really say that name, Amharic rendered into Iaric, Rastafari English, so it must be still talking about that. So I'm going to jump a few pages, a few chapters. We're at page 1912. Okay, it's still covering the Judaic and Christian holy texts, scriptures, etc. Okay, so I'm going to jump further down. to see if what it covers in the secular religions, the other religions. We think maybe the 6th edition is probably similar or the same, basically. Nothing really different in it. We haven't really looked at that exclusively or extensively, but we're trying to get beyond the 3 major religions and their texts to secular religious texts. Okay, this looks like it's Josephus in his writings. Flavius Josephus Wars, chapter 11. I'm trying to jump way ahead. Let's do it. Flavius Josephus, Antiquities, chapter 12. I'm going to go further on. Okay, this looks like it's Buddhism. Dilemma 43. Bakula's superiority to the Buddha, the best of men. Okay, so it covers Buddhism. Too sure what this one is. Probably it's either Persian or Indian. We're not really sure which one it actually is. Yes, it's Hindu. It's going on about the Bhagavad Gita. Just going into the Greek philosophy. Plutarch's Morals, chapter 4. Conjugal precepts. Plutarch sends greetings to Polyaenas and Eurydice. So he's mostly going into the Greek philosophies, writings, etc. Seneca's Letters, 45. We're at page 2986. So again, as we stated way earlier, there's a heck of a lot of information within this Grand Bible version, and you can get it online for free in public domain, public access. No need to sign up, be a member of this particular site. You just download it, whether in torrent form or PDF. Probably best to have, if you've got Firefox, to have the add-on Malware AI, which scans it to see if there's any malware content in it. It's actually quite good. It's free and it's good. Evagrius History, chapter 9. Epistle of the Asiatic Bishops to Cassius. Okay, so that's going on. That must be with the Greek or something. Not really sure what it is. Book of the Bee, chapter 8. I'm going to get way ahead down to page 3432. See what it says there. It looks like it's covering some sort of Greek, or maybe some history. Roman Greek history. It goes on about Ptolemy. Natural History, book 8. I'm going to go even further forward. Okay, looks like history on Rome. Say something here about the first Roman to own a collection of gemstones, for which we normally use the foreign term dactyliothica or ring cabinet, was Sulla's stepson Scaurus. For many years There was no other until Pompey the Great dedicated in a capital among his other offerings a ring cabinet that had belonged to King Mithridates. This, as Varro and other authorities of the period confirm, was far inferior to that of Scaurus. Pompey's example was followed by Julius Caesar, who during his dictatorship consecrated 6 cabinets of gems in the temple of Venus Genetrix, and by Marcellus, Octavian's son, who dedicated 1 in the temple of Apollo on the Palatine, and so forth, going on about gemstones and all this sort of stuff that they valued, and they made these cabinets or something like that to store them. And looks like some history of somebody that travelled. The journeys of William of Rubric to the eastern parts of the world. Introduction to King Louis the Ninth, and so forth. Okay, history. Marco Polo chapter 41 of the district of Kamul, and some of peculiar customs respecting the entertainment of strangers. So you can see how deep it goes and what it covers. Okay, it goes into the Mormon Bible. Mormon Halaman chapter 1, Mormon Alma chapter 30, Mormon Ether chapter 5, Book of Jasher chapter 55, Yasher. Okay, it goes into, it looks like the scripture of Sikhism, Indian, right? Sri Guru Granth Sahib, original language Punjabi and Gurmukhi script, and so forth. So it's covering the secular religions with the other religions. We're at 4094, page 4094. Probably still Hindu based or Indian based texts, scriptures. There's quite a lot there. We're at page 4252. It looks like it's still covering the Indian text. We're not sure. It says here Ra'ag Sarang, so we're not too sure what that is. Yeah, probably Indian, Hindu based. And it looks like we're at maybe the Quran. For it's got here, the following is 118. The following is an evidence of the sovereignty exercised by Muhammad, the day-star of truth. Hast thou not heard how with one single verse he hath sundered light from darkness, the righteous from the ungodly, and the believing from the infidel? All the signs and illusions concerning the day of judgment which thou hast heard, such as the raising of the dead, the day of reckoning, the last judgment, and others have been made manifest through the revelation of that verse, and so forth. This is the significance of the well-known words, the wolf and the lamb that shall feed together, Bible, Isaiah 65:25. Behold, the ignorance and folly, etc., etc. Yes, it must be the Quran, surahs or hadiths or something. The Life of Muhammad, Sirat Rasul Allah, page 367. The Apostle said, who will rid me of Ibn al-Ashraf? Muhammad bin Maslama, brother of the Bani Abdul Ashal, said, I will deal with him for you, O Apostle of God. I will kill him. So forth. Okay, looks like some sort of verse here. Quran chapter 33, Surah 78. The announcement, the tidings of Nabah, in the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, and so forth. Jump a few pages ahead here. Still the Quran. We're at page 4529. Maybe it's still covering the Quran. Yes, we think it's still talking about the Quran at page 4601. I'm going to skip all the way down here, see how many pages there are in total. By the looks of it, 7,572. Because basically advertising at the end of the book. Okay, five precepts in Buddhism. Let's go see what's before that, prior to that. 10 Commandments, 7 Laws of Noah, laws, with Noahide laws, the 10 Commandments in Islam, Commandments of abrogation in the Quran. So that's obviously a chapter on all the laws, morals, ethics, etc., etc., of the different religions. In comparison, probably with the old, or the way older, ancient, very old, admonitory sayings of King Surapapak, addressed to his son Zeusudra, the flood hero, who is also known as Utnapishtim in Akkad, or in Akkadian, and so forth. Okay, it's got a lot of references, things you can look at. Go back and look at. Index, probably. So yes, very, very voluminous, very, very interesting as well. There's a hell of a lot of content here. So you could go back to the very first page, or pages, and possibly show you the contents again. Okay, maybe a bit further back. Okay, there's the table of contents again. So as you can see, it's all the Old Testament, different Bible versions, the Old Testament, New Testament, from the Aramaic, Syriac, Hebrew, Greek, etc., down to the Latin, to modern English, and so forth. There's a hell of a lot of information there. The Reformation, the Quran, scriptures of Mesopotamia, the origin of the covenant, the commandments, the laws in the Bible, scriptures of India, scriptures of China. Then you've got the image plates, as we showed at the beginning of this video, all these different scrolls, manuscripts, codices, or books, and where they were found, Qumran, etc., etc. Cuneiform tablets, clay tablets, the Egyptian. The maxims of instructions of Ptah-hotep were published to teach people how to avoid conflicts. You probably have the 42 laws of Ma'at in there somewhere. More cuneiform text. The 282 laws of the Code Hammurabi, and so forth. Probably even talk about the copper scrolls that were found, etc. So we hope you find that really, really interesting. This video really, really interesting, and then go and download this particular book and study it. Learn all that's within it. Could be around the table discussing, like at dinner time or something like that, or you're sick of watching TV, boring soap operas or something, and you think, well, I want to learn some history, or you've got some sort of school class exam, whatever that covers. You got to look at historical histories, right? All that sort of stuff. It'd be good help for you there, because it's got everything in it, basically. So if you like this particular video, then let us know by giving us a like, subscribing to our channel, then adding your comments underneath this particular video. Get back to you on those as soon as we can, and then go share this with all your family, friends and others who have their questions, regarding the Old Testament, New Testament, Christianity, Judaism, Christianity, Islam, etc., etc. It's a great source of information. As we stated earlier, it covers not only the Old and New Testament, the Deuterocanonicals, the pseudepigraphas, the Gnostic Gospels, etc. The New Testament is with the Apocrypha and non-canonical scriptures. It also covers your secondary or secular religions like Hinduism, Sikhism, Buddhism, and so forth. Numerous other scriptures in English with a detailed introduction on history by Lord Henfield. So as we said, give us a like, subscribe to our channel, and add your comments underneath the video, and we'll get back to you on those as soon as we can. And then go share this video with all your family, friends and others. Thank you for taking the time to watch this, our latest created and uploaded video.